It's really something how a simple phrase can carry so much weight. Like it implies destiny.
Oh, absolutely. Like it was meant to be. We say things like that all the time.
Right. But what if the story behind that destiny, that sort of pronouncement, was actually, well, incredibly tragic? And maybe even part of some sharp political games.
Yeah. What if the path to power was much more brutal, more personal than we usually think?
It's so true. We tend to smooth out history, don't we? Make it neat.
We do. But the reality is often, well, messy, full of calculated risks, heartbreaking sacrifices, and interestingly, the deliberate reshaping of how we even remember things.
So today we're diving into the Chu-Han Contention, that really intense civil war after the Zheng dynasty fell, a super pivotal time in ancient China.
And our deep dive today is going to unpack some pretty crucial moments. We'll look at surprising strategies, the real human cost of ambition.
And how history itself gets written, and maybe rewritten, over time. It's not just what happened, but how we know it, right? And who wanted us to know it that way.
Yeah. Exactly. Our mission here is to dig up that strategic brilliance, the human drama, and frankly, some fascinating historical puzzles from this era. Hopefully help you see the nuances that you might miss just, reading a summary.
Okay, so let's start with a story that's, wow, it's powerful. And kind of chilling. There's that famous saying, the king of Han is a virtuous man and will ultimately gain the realm.
Sounds very prophetic, doesn't it? Like it was foretold.
Totally. But the actual origin story, much more violent, much more poignant than that calm phrase suggests.
It really is. So the king of Han is Liu Bang, who, eventually founds the Han dynasty. But that full quote, the way we often hear it now, it actually grew over time.
Okay.
The core of it comes from an incredible act of sacrifice by Wang Ling's mother. Wang Ling was one of Liu Bang's generals.
Right.
And Liu Bang's big rival, Xiang Yu, he captured Wang Ling's mother, held her hostage, basically trying to force Wang Ling to switch sides or surrender.
Wow. I mean, imagine being Wang Ling, your mother's life just hanging there, a pawn in this huge power struggle.
It's awful to think about, but here's the amazing part. Xiang Yu sends an envoy expecting Wang Ling to just fold immediately.
Naturally.
But Wang Ling's mother, she sends back this incredibly defiant message. She tells the envoy, "Tell my son to serve the king of Han well. He's a virtuous man." And then she added that prediction that he'd ultimately succeed.
Oh.
And right after saying that, she took her own life with a sword. Right there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Took away Xiang Yu's leverage completely, just like that. An unbelievable act of courage.
Unbelievable. And Zhang Yu's response.
Just as brutal. He was enraged, absolutely furious at her defiance. So he had her body boiled in a cauldron. Pure vengeance. It tells you so much about how merciless that conflict was. I mean, even non-combatants, family members could face just horrific cruelty.
It's hard to even process that. Boiling someone. Yikes.
So, okay, back to the phrase itself. You said it evolved.
Right. So the earliest records we have, like Sima Qian's records of the Grand Historian, they only mention her saying, the king of Han is a virtuous man.
Okay, just that part. Yeah. The extra bit, and will ultimately gain the realm, that powerful prediction, that seems to have come later. Probably from Ban Biao's discourse on the Mandate of Kings.
Ah, okay. And Ban Biao had a specific reason for writing that, right?
Exactly. He was writing very explicitly to justify the Han dynasty's rule, to show they had the mandate of heaven.
So adding that prophecy wasn't just recounting history.
Not at all. It was a political statement. It retroactively gave Liu Bang's rise this air of inevitability, of divine backing.
Makes sense. So when you're looking at these old accounts, especially official ones from the winning side,
you always have to ask, what was the author's purpose? What narrative were they trying to build? Every fact comes from someone, and that someone has a context, maybe an agenda.
always consider the source.
Yeah.
And their motivation. It's fascinating how history gets shaped like that, isn't it?
It really is. And it's not the only discrepancy either. Even who Wang Ling was changes depending on where you look.
How so?
Well, some sources say he was just a fellow townsman who joined Liu Bang later on. Others paint him as a longtime general. And later historians, like Sima Guang, compiling his huge history, the Zizhi Tongjian, He actually chose the fellow townsman version, kind of downplayed any earlier connection.
So it's like they're picking and choosing which details fit the story they want to tell.
Sort of, yeah. Or maybe weighing conflicting evidence. We see it with timelines, too. Like, when exactly were the three kins pacified? One source says August, another says not until early the next year.
These aren't small details, really.
No. They show how history isn't just a list of facts, it's interpretation. It changes depending on the historian, their era, their perspective, maybe even their politics. History is a conversation. It's still happening.
Which brings us to another really interesting strategic move by Liu Bang. This one feels almost like psychological warfare. It's 206 BC. He's taking over the three kins.
Right. And on the surface, it looks like a really sentimental move, very human. Liu Bang sends a force south through Wuguan Pass, and the stated mission is to go all the way back to his hometown, Pei County, and rescue his father, Liu Taigong, and his wife, Liu Ji.
But the timing is weird, isn't it? He'd just had that incredibly tense meeting with Xiang Yu, the feast at Han Gate.
Where he almost got killed, yeah.
And he'd just been made king of Han by Xiang Yu. Why didn't he get his family earlier, when he was first setting up in Nanxing? Or before launching this whole campaign?
Exactly. It strongly suggests he had to choose his big ambitions versus his family's safety right then.
And he picked ambition.
Looks like it. And think about the actual mission, rescuing them. It was almost impossible.
How so?
Well, first they'd have to break through Simishin's blockade, then this incredibly long, tough journey through Nanyang Commandery, all while Xiang Yu's capital, Pengsheng, was really close to Pei County.
So danger everywhere.
Absolutely. Liu Bang was a brilliant strategist. He had to know how incredibly difficult, maybe even futile, this rescue attempt was.
So it's like a calculated gamble with his own family. Knowing the odds were terrible, that's a cold.
It is. Which leads to the million-dollar question. If success was so unlikely, what was the real reason?
Okay, I'm listening.
The thinking is, it was basically political theater, a performance.
Wow.
By sending troops on this, seemingly heartfelt mission, Liu Bang projected this image. Loyalty, concern for family. He knew showing that kind of human side, even if the mission failed, could win people over, make him look virtuous.
Especially compared to Xiang Yu, maybe.
Exactly. Build that contrast. And look how Xiang Yu reacted. It's telling.
What did he do?
Well, first, he did send troops to block Liu Bang's force at Yangtze, stop them cold.
Okay, predictable.
But he also very quickly appointed someone else, Zheng Cheng, as king of Han, specifically to block Liu Bang from moving east.
Ooh, so Xiang Yu was worried he saw Liu Bang as a threat already?
Immediately wary. It shows Liu Bang's move, even if just performative, got under his skin, made him react defensively.
And then Zhang Lang steps in, right? Liu Bang's top strategist.
Yes, with a total masterstroke. Zheng Lang pretends to be like a neutral observer. He writes a letter to Xiang Yu, claims Liu Bang only wants Guanzhong, the region he felt he deserved anyway. Says Liu Bang has zero plans to go east, just wants his rightful patch.
Trying to calm Xiang Yu down.
Totally. And to make it convincing, Zhang Liang actually leaves Liu Bang's camp before writing the letter, makes it look like he's giving Xiang Yu some inside scoop from the outside.
That is sneaky.
And clever. And at the same time, he feeds Xiang Yu this intel, maybe even exaggerates it, that Tianrong up in Qi and the state of Zhao were about to team up against Zhu.
Piling on the pressure. Distraction.
Exactly. A strategic diversion. Now, Liu Bang could have chosen differently. He could have actually allied with Tianrong and Chen Yu, made a big coalition against Xiang Yu.
More like the old warring states alliances.
Right. But instead, he chose this route. Lull Xiang Yu into thinking he wasn't the main threat, get Xiang Yu to focus his army up north on Tianrong.
And from Xiang Yu's perspective, maybe that made sense at the time. Qi and Zhao were closer to his capital.
They were. A more immediate, obvious threat on his border. Liu Bang, even if he got the three kins, still seemed further away, with more barriers between them.
Classic misdirection. Make your enemy look over there.
While you're busy over here, it's textbook psychological warfare, making Xiang Yu react to what Liu Bang wanted him to see.
And history shows that decision really hurt Xiang Yu in the long run.
Oh, massively. This whole sequence wasn't just about territory. It was a huge psychological win for Liu Bang. One of his most brilliant moves early on really set the stage.
Wow. Okay, so while all that's happening, other parts of the realm are also just Completely chaotic, right?
Total turbulence, a real domino effect. Like up north, the old king of Yan, Han, he refused to move where Xiang Yu told him to go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So the new king of Yan that Xiang Yu appointed, Xing, to just killed him.
Just like that.
Yep. Which completely messes up Xiang Yu's neat little plan for how the kingdom should be organized. So there's more chaos, more resentment against Xiang Yu's authority.
His control was maybe not as solid as he thought.
Definitely fragile. Meanwhile, Liu Bang is making quieter moves. He appoints Zhu Ke as imperial censor.
Okay, what's the significance there?
Well, Zhu Ke becomes important later, but appointing an imperial censor, it's not just filling a post. It signals Liu Bang is trying to build a proper, legitimate administration, even while fighting.
Ah, like laying the groundwork for governing, not just conquering.
Exactly. Unlike Xiang Yu, who relied a lot on personal power and charisma, Liu Bang was thinking about structure, bureaucracy, playing the long game.
Interesting contrast. And then there's the death of Emperor Yi. That sounds really significant and kind of sad.
It is very poignant and also really murky. So, winter 205 BCE, Yi he used to be King Wai of Chu, this sort of revered figurehead.
The shepherd boy who became king.
That's the one. He's being relocated, supposedly moving his capital, and he gets ambushed and killed on the Yangtze River. A really tragic end after this unexpected rise.
Killed. But by who? It sounds like a mystery.
It totally is. The historical accounts are all over the place, super inconsistent.
Like-
Well, one version in the records of the Grand Historian blames Gu Rui and Guang Ao. Another chapter blames Ying Bu. Another account says it happened south of the Yangtze. Another says in Chen County. It's like nobody could agree on the basic facts.
That's really strange for such a major event. So what did later historians do with all that confusion?
Well, this is fascinating. Ban Gu, writing the Book of Han much later, he just cleans it all up, simplifies it.
Wow.
He just blames Yingbu, period.
Why just him?
Almost certainly politics. Yingbu later defected and became a really important ally for Liu Bang.
Ah, so pinning the murder solely on him made him a convenient villain in the official Han story.
Precisely. It sort of launders the event, makes Yingbu the bad guy, absolves Liu Bang of any awkward connection to the death of this respected former king, and lets Liu Bang look good for avenging him later.
Wow. History being actively rewritten for political gain.
It's a prime example. And the biggest question maybe is, why kill Yi at all? Xiang Yu presumably ordered it, but Yi had no real power left. He wasn't a threat.
Right, so why bother? Was he just a loose end, a symbol that Xiang Yu wanted gone?
We don't really know the motive, but what is clear is who benefited most.
Liu Bang.
Liu Bang. He immediately used avenging Emperor Yi as this huge rallying cry against Xiang Yu, painted himself as the righteous avenger. It was incredibly effective propaganda, even if the truth of who killed Yi is lost to us.
Man, the layers here are incredible. Okay, so at the same time, things are shifting in the central place, too.
Big time. Chen Yu, who we mentioned might ally with Liu Bang,
Right.
he actually teams up with forces from Qi, attacks the kingdom of Chengshan, and kicks out his old rival Zhang Er.
Okay, so Chen Yu seems to be winning there.
Looks like it. He reinstates the old king of Zhao, King Shi,
Yeah.
and names himself King of Dai. Seems like he's consolidating power, right?
Yeah, sounds like a victory.
But here's the irony. The loser in that fight, Zhang Er, he flees
To where?
to Liu Bang. And Zhang Er ends up becoming super important under Liu Bang, rises high in the new Han dynasty,
Well, Chen Yu, the apparent winner.
ends up making bad choices later and brings disaster on himself. It's like that saying, right? A loss may turn out to be a gain. Sometimes defeat puts you on a better path.
Wow. Fortune is fickle. And wasn't there something about why Zhang Er chose Liu Bang? Something about stars?
Ah, yeah. That's a cool detail. The story goes that an astrologer, Gan Gong, told Zhang Er that Liu Bang was destined for greatness because he saw in an omen 5 stars converging in the eastern sky.
Whoa. Celestial signs.
Whether you buy into astrology or not, it shows you how people back then in these incredibly chaotic times were looking for any sign, any guidance for making these huge life-altering decisions.
Connects back to that whole idea of destiny we started with, but maybe seen through the lens of people just desperately trying to figure out what to do next.
Exactly, seeking certainty in pure chaos.
So we've really journeyed through some hidden layers here, haven't we? Ancient strategy, intense personal sacrifice, and how the story of it all keeps shifting.
It really shows that understanding history means looking way beyond just the surface facts, questioning the narratives, always digging a bit deeper.
It really does. Every account we have has got the fingerprints of its time, its author, all over it.
Yeah. The truth is often this mosaic, different perspectives, shaped by politics, by bias, by what the powerful needed people to believe.
So as you're thinking about all this, maybe reflect on how often history turns not just on big battles, but on these subtle moves, personal choices, acts of courage, or even acts of incredible cruelty.
And think about how the history we get handed down is often shaped by the winners, or by those with a specific agenda.
Yeah, how a single story can change its meaning, its justification over centuries, even reaching us today. What part of this whole tangled story stands out most to you? If you found this discussion useful, maybe learned something new, definitely hit that subscribe button. We do these deep dives regularly, exploring valuable ideas.
We appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.